Government agencies using AI. It's pretty wild to think about. To make things run smoother, make discoveries faster. They're even using it to protect endangered species. It's not science fiction. It's happening right now.
It really is. It's remarkable how AI is being used in government. It's everywhere,
Yeah.
integrated into so many things, from patent searches to border security. And it's only the beginning.
It's true. And that's what we're going to dive into today. This article by Andrew Kagan, he's the CTO of Planet Technologies. It's called AI in Government, Use Cases and Compliance Plans. It's a goldmine. So many real-world examples of AI being used. And I think our listeners are going to be really surprised by what they hear.
I agree. This article, it really highlights how AI is not just some future tech anymore.
Yeah.
It's being used to solve real problems right now, today.
Okay. Let's jump in, the article. It organizes all these AI projects by their impact. And the first thing we're going to look at is how AI is making government operations more efficient and more effective.
Right. AI is being used to streamline all these complex processes,
Yeah.
making things run more smoothly. And at the end of the day, it's saving taxpayer dollars.
Right, exactly. Like at Customs and Border Protection or CBP, they're using AI. And they're analyzing tons and tons of data to figure out the best way to allocate their resources and develop applications. They call it the integrated digital environment.
So imagine a system that can instantly analyze every single aspect of border security operations, from staffing levels to traffic flow. And this lets CBP allocate resources where they're needed most, which is critical in that type of environment when things are constantly changing.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So it's not just about saving money, but it's about being more effective, especially in a field where every second counts. What about other agencies? What are they doing?
Well, the article, it also highlights how the USPTO, that's the agency that handles patents, they're using AI to speed up the patent process.
I can definitely see how that would be beneficial. Getting new inventions to market faster, that could have a huge impact on the economy. What kind of AI tools are they using?
They developed two key AI tools. The first one is AI retrieval for patent search, which helps examiners go through mountains of documents and find the most relevant prior art.
By prior art, you mean like previous inventions or research that might be similar to the patent being applied for, right?
Exactly. So it's all about making sure that the patent process is thorough and accurate. And then for inventors, there's the Inventor Search Assistant. This helps inventors navigate the patent world, which can be really complex, and helps them make sure that their invention is unique.
So basically, these tools are streamlining the patent process for everybody involved. From the examiners to the inventors, that's a pretty impressive use of AI.
It is. And the potential benefits are huge. Faster patent processing means faster innovation, which could lead to new products, new jobs, and a stronger economy.
For sure. So we've got AI optimizing workflows at CBP and streamlining patent searches at the USPTO. What other cool examples does the article talk about?
Well, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's move from optimizing operations to pushing the boundaries of scientific research. The article also talks about how AI is being used in fields like energy, environmental science, even space exploration.
I'm really curious about how AI is being used to tackle climate change. Is there anything on that?
Absolutely. One example that stands out is the National Energy Technology Laboratory, NETL. And they're using something called ML-based proxy models.
ML-based proxy models. This sound kind of complicated.
They might sound complicated, but basically they act like virtual laboratories.
Virtual laboratories, how does that work?
So these AI models, they can simulate really complex scenarios that would take years and years to study in the real world. Imagine trying to figure out the best way to capture and store carbon emissions.
Right.
It involves understanding all this complicated stuff, like chemical reactions, geological formations, atmospheric models.
Yeah, I can see how that would take a really long time to research traditionally.
Exactly. But with ML-based proxy models, scientists can run countless simulations, like tons and tons of simulations, in a fraction of the time. They can rapidly test different methods and really quickly understand which solutions are going to be the most effective.
Wow, so AI is speeding up climate change research and helping us find solutions faster. That's incredible. What other scientific breakthroughs are happening because of AI?
Another area where AI is really making a difference is in using drones for environmental monitoring and disaster response.
AI-powered drones. That sounds like something out of a movie.
I know, right? It might sound futuristic, but it's happening right now. NETL is using neural networks, which is a type of AI, to improve the accuracy of drones that have sensors.
What kind of benefits does that accuracy bring?
Well, imagine a drone is being used to survey damage after a hurricane.
Yeah.
Or a wildfire. By using AI to make the drone sensors more accurate, we can get a much more detailed and reliable assessment of the situation.
So that means better data, which means better decisions about where to send resources and how to prioritize aid. That could save lives in a disaster.
Exactly. And these drones aren't just limited to disaster zones. They can be used for so many things, like environmental monitoring, infrastructure inspection, search and rescue operations.
Wow. So we've seen how AI is making government more efficient. It's speeding up scientific discovery. It's playing a critical role in responding to disasters. What else can AI do?
Well, in addition to all of that, the article also talks about how AI is being used to tackle some really important social challenges, like protecting endangered species
Mm.
and improving healthcare outcomes.
Okay, yeah. I'm really interested to hear about that. How is AI being used to make a difference in these areas?
One really amazing example is Project Vikala. It's an initiative by USAID, the agency that provides humanitarian aid around the world.
Yeah, I've heard of USAI. They do amazing work all over the globe. So how are they using AI?
They're using AI to fight wildlife trafficking, specifically the illegal rhino horn trade. Project Vikala uses AI to analyze X-ray images of luggage at airports, and it helps customs officials detect rhino horn that's being smuggled out of the country.
That's amazing. So AI is literally helping to save rhinos from extinction.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's not just about rhinos. AI is being used to combat all sorts of illegal wildlife trade, from elephant ivory to pangolin scales.
It's incredible to think about the impact AI can have. It's playing a direct role in protecting biodiversity. Are there other examples of AI being used to address social challenges?
Definitely. Another area where AI is making a real difference is in healthcare. USAID is using AI to predict treatment interruptions for people with HIV/AIDS, specifically in developing countries.
Okay, how does that work?
To the AI, it analyzes data about patients, their treatment history, social determinants of health, and from that, the AI can identify individuals who are at a high risk of interrupting their treatment. And this allows healthcare workers to step in early, provide support, and that can drastically improve health outcomes.
It's like an early warning system to help make sure that people get the care they need.
Exactly. And this is just one example. There are a bunch of initiatives out there, from using AI to diagnose diseases earlier to developing personalized treatment plans.
So we've seen AI streamline government operations. We've seen it advance scientific research. It's even tackling global issues like wildlife trafficking and healthcare.
It's clear that AI is a game changer. But with any powerful tool, it's really important to use it responsibly. And that's where the article's discussion of AI compliance plans comes in.
That's a good point. With all this potential comes the responsibility to use it carefully and to make sure that we're not creating any unintended consequences. What can you tell me about these compliance plans?
Federal agencies are taking the responsible use of AI really seriously. They're developing all these plans to make sure that AI is used ethically, transparently, accountably.
So what are some of the key things that agencies are focusing on when it comes to these plans?
Well, one of the biggest things is bias in AI systems. If the data that's used to train an AI is biased, then the AI is going to be biased, and that could lead to some unfair outcomes or discriminatory outcomes.
We need to make sure that AI is being used fairly for everyone.
Exactly. And agencies like the GSA and the VA are putting a lot of effort into this, mitigating bias in their AI policies. They're trying to identify and address potential biases, from the data that's used to train the AI to the way it's designed and implemented.
That's good to hear. It sounds like they're committed to making sure AI is used to benefit everybody.
They are. And it's not just about bias. They're also focused on transparency and accountability.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that people understand how AI is being used and how it's making decisions that affect their lives.
Especially when it comes to government. Transparency is essential.
Absolutely. And that's why agencies are creating AI use case inventories. It's basically a record of all the AI applications that they're using. They're also establishing AI governance structures to oversee the development and deployment of AI. It's all about accountability.
Got it. So we have bias mitigation, transparency, accountability, all incredibly important parts of responsible AI. What else are agencies thinking about?
Another big one is privacy and security, protecting sensitive data. That is super important when we're talking about AI. We can't let innovation come at the cost of people's privacy.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
And that's why agencies like DHS and USA are focusing on this. Strong privacy and security measures in their AI. They're building in safeguards from the very beginning to make sure that data is being handled responsibly.
It sounds like they're really taking a comprehensive approach to AI. They're thinking about everything from bias to privacy and security.
They are, and a lot of this is because of OMB Memorandum M2410, which is all about responsible AI in government.
So this memorandum, it's kind of like setting the standard for how AI should be developed and used in government.
Exactly. It lays out a framework for responsible AI, and agencies are using it as a guide for their own AI compliance plans.
So what do these compliance plans actually look like?
Well, each agency's plan is a little bit different. It depends on their specific needs and their mission. But there are some common threads. For example, a lot of agencies are setting up AI governance boards to provide direction on AI, to make sure they're following ethical guidelines, and to promote transparency.
So it's kind of like a board of directors, but for AI.
Exactly. These boards are usually made up of experts from different areas: ethics, law, technology, policy.
So they've got all their bases covered.
Right. And they're also focusing on risk management, figuring out if a particular AI use might impact people's rights or safety, and conducting thorough assessments before an AI system is deployed.
That sounds like a very careful process.
It is. And remember those AI use case inventories we talked about? Those are actually mandated by the OMB Memorandum, which is a good thing because it makes sure that agencies are keeping track of everything and that AI is being used responsibly.
It sounds like they're really trying to do this right.
They are. But it's important to remember that AI is always evolving. It's a rapidly developing field. So these plans, these compliance plans, they'll have to adapt and evolve too.
We're still in the early stages of figuring out how to harness the power of AI while also using it responsibly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to keep talking about this and to collaborate. Agencies need to share what's working, learn from each other, and work together to create a future where AI benefits everyone.
We just went through a bunch of examples of how government agencies are using AI to make things more efficient, to advance scientific research, even to tackle some pretty big social challenges. But now I want to talk about the responsible use of AI. How do we make sure things don't go wrong?
Yeah, it's a valid concern. AI has huge potential, but we have to implement it thoughtfully.
Yeah.
And the good news is that federal agencies are really putting in the effort to develop frameworks and strategies for using AI responsibly.
So let's break that down a little bit. What are some of the key principles, the things that are guiding the responsible development and use of AI in government?
One of the most important ones is transparency. People need to understand how AI systems are being used, especially when it comes to decisions that affect their lives.
Yeah, especially in government, transparency is key. It's how you build public trust.
Exactly. And it's more than just explaining what an AI system does. It's about making the decision-making process clear. How does an AI system reach its conclusions?
So it's not just the what, it's the how and the why behind the AI's decisions.
Right. That's where the idea of explainable AI comes in. We have to make sure the inner workings of AI systems are transparent so that we can understand the logic behind their decisions.
If we don't understand how an AI reached a conclusion, how can we be sure that its decisions are fair, unbiased?
That's the whole point. Transparency is all about accountability. Who is responsible for the decisions that these AI systems are making?
Like if an AI makes a mistake or even causes harm, we need to know who's accountable for that.
Exactly. And that can be a little tricky with AI. With traditional software, it's pretty clear who wrote the code. But AI systems, they're learning and evolving all the time.
Yeah.
And that makes it harder to figure out who's responsible.
That's interesting. It's like AI adds this whole new layer of complexity when we're talking about responsibility.
It does. And we need to come up with new frameworks.
Yeah.
Legal precedents even, to deal with AI accountability. It's complicated, but we have to address it.
Sounds like a pretty important area for discussion and policy.
It is. But it's not just about the legal stuff. It's about how we design and implement AI from the very beginning. Even as AI gets more and more sophisticated, humans need to be involved, especially when it comes to the big decisions.
Right. It's not about replacing humans with machines. It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Using AI's strengths, but keeping humans in control.
Exactly. And that means thinking carefully about how we integrate AI into our workflows, balancing efficiency and human oversight.
Sounds like there's a lot to think about. It's not just the technology, but the people, the ethics,
Yeah.
the impact on society as a whole.
You got it. And that's why it's so important to talk about this. Public dialogue is essential. These are not just technical issues. They affect everybody.
So we need to have a broader conversation beyond the developers and the policymakers.
For sure. We need input from ethicists, community leaders, everyday people. Everyone needs to be part of this.
It feels like we're at a crossroads. The decisions we make now about AI are going to have a big impact down the road.
We are. And we need to remember that AI itself isn't good or bad. It's a tool. Like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. The key is to have strong ethical guidelines and oversight.
So how do we make sure that AI is used for good? That it's developed and implemented in a way that reflects our values?
Well, first we have to recognize that AI can actually perpetuate existing biases if we're not careful. If the data we use to train an AI is biased, the AI will be biased too. And that can lead to unfair or discriminatory outcomes.
Right, and we talked about how agencies like the GSA and the VA are trying to fix that.
Yeah.
Mitigating bias in their AI systems.
They are. But it's an ongoing thing. We have to keep checking systems for bias, make sure development teams are diverse, and really foster a culture that values fairness.
Being proactive and having different perspectives are important. What other ethical considerations should we keep in mind?
We've talked about transparency, accountability, bias, but another big one is how AI might affect the workforce.
Right. A lot of people are worried about AI taking away jobs.
And that's a real concern. Automation has always had the potential to replace jobs, and AI is no different. But AI can also create new jobs, new opportunities.
So AI could actually create jobs, not just take them away.
Absolutely. AI can help people work more effectively, or let them focus on higher-level tasks.
AI enhancing human potential instead of replacing it. I like that.
Exactly. And this is where upskilling and reskilling come in. We need to train people, give them the skills they'll need in an AI-powered world.
Preparing for the future instead of just reacting to it.
Exactly. And the government can play a big role here. They can work with schools and companies to create training programs that are relevant to the changing needs of the workforce.
Lots of room for collaboration and innovation in this area.
There is. We need to be proactive. The sooner we invest in upskilling and reskilling, the better prepared we'll be for the future.
Okay. We've covered a lot. Ethical considerations, human oversight, the impact on jobs. What else do we need to be thinking about as AI continues to evolve?
One final point is international collaboration. AI is a global thing. It's not limited to one country. The challenges and opportunities are everywhere.
So we need to think about this on a global level.
Exactly. We need international standards, norms for responsible AI use.
Makes sense. If AI is this powerful, we all need to be on the same page about how to use it ethically and responsibly.
Absolutely. And this collaboration has to include everybody, not just governments. Private companies, research institutions, civil society. It's a global challenge, so we need a global solution.
Okay, so we talked about AI's potential in government, the ethical concerns, but now I want to see how it's actually being used. What are agencies doing to make sure that AI is developed and deployed responsibly?
One really positive trend I'm seeing is this emphasis on governance, having solid governance structures. Agencies are realizing that they need dedicated teams and processes to oversee all these AI projects and make sure they're aligned with responsible AI principles.
So it's like they're creating this AI rule book, guidelines to make sure things are done the right way.
Exactly. And it's happening in a few different ways. A lot of agencies are putting together AI governance boards or councils.
So these boards are kind of like the AI watchdogs, making sure everything stays on track. What do they actually do?
They're there to provide oversight, guidance, strategic direction for AI initiatives. And they usually have experts from all different areas: ethics, law, tech, policy.
That's good. It's not just the tech people calling the shots. Having all those different perspectives is really important when you're dealing with something as big as AI.
Absolutely. AI has such a huge impact on society. We need to have all those voices at the table.
Okay, so the boards are there, but what are agencies doing to actually put these responsible AI principles into practice?
One thing that's becoming more and more common is AI use case inventories.
Remind me what those are again?
Sure. An AI use case inventory, it's basically a list, a complete list of every AI system an agency is using or developing.
Right.
It's how they keep track of all their AI activities, make sure nothing falls through the cracks, and each project is checked for potential risks and ethical issues.
So it's like taking inventory of all your AI, making sure you're managing it responsibly.
Exactly. And a lot of times these inventories are public, which is great for transparency. People can see how AI is being used in government and hold agencies accountable.
Transparency is so important, especially with AI. It helps build trust and make sure AI is used in a way that benefits everyone.
I completely agree. Another key part of responsible AI governance is risk management.
What does that look like when we're talking about AI?
Agencies are developing systems, frameworks, and procedures to assess the risks of AI. Before they're actually used, they look at things like bias, the impact on privacy, unintended consequences, and the need for human oversight.
So they're trying to anticipate problems and fix them before they happen.
Right. And this risk management process is often tied to those AI use case inventories. So when a new AI system is proposed, it goes through this whole risk assessment before it gets approved.
That sounds like a pretty thorough system to make sure AI is used safely and responsibly.
It is. And it's a system that's always evolving. As we learn more about AI and the potential risks, agencies are constantly refining their approach based on new research and best practices.
That's good. It's encouraging that they're taking a proactive approach and adapting as they go.
It is. We're still in the early days of figuring out how to govern AI, but there's a lot of great work being done, lots of innovation.
It feels like we're at the start of something really big. AI can change our world in so many ways, and it's great to see agencies really thinking about this, approaching it thoughtfully.
I agree. We need to recognize and celebrate the progress that's being made. There are so many people doing amazing work in this field.
Absolutely, and we all have a responsibility to stay informed, to be part of this conversation, and help shape the future of AI. This isn't something that should be decided by a select few.
That's right. The decisions we make about AI today are going to have a big impact on our future. We need to make sure that AI is used for good and that everyone benefits from it.
So to sum up our deep dive into AI in government, the takeaway is this. AI is an incredibly powerful tool. It can change our world in so many ways, but it's not without its risks. We have to work together to make sure AI is used ethically, responsibly, and that it benefits all of humanity.
Well said. The future of AI is up to us. Let's make sure we use it wisely.